So, good evening or good afternoon to everyone. So, our subject matter for today is this teacher and the school curriculum. So, our topic for today is implementing the curriculum. So the next step after curriculum planning and designing is implementing it. So as a teacher, of course, this is one of the major roles that you do in the school. So many of the curricula that you see may have been recommended and written down. So this was discussed the last time. So your task is to implement those. So daily year plan should be ready for implementation as well. So always remember this. So the success of learning depends on your implementation efforts. So you will be both an implementer and as manager of this curricula. So you will put an action to what has been planned and designed. So it is you as a teacher who will add more meaning to the various activities inside the classroom. So this is what we call the teaching styles or the teaching strategies. So you have to make the day of the learners interesting, of course, engaging, and unforgettable. So no curriculum should stop at planning or designing phase. So it has to be implemented. So let us first define the curriculum implementation. So following the curriculum model of Tyler, Taba, Saylor, and Alexander or Lewis is the next step to curriculum designing, which is the curriculum implementing. So this is the phase where teacher action takes place. So it is one of the most crucial process in curriculum development. Although many education planners would say a good plan is work half done. So if this is so, then the other half of the success of the curriculum development rests in the hands of the implementors, who is the teacher. So the curriculum implementation means putting into practice the written curriculum. So that has been it has to be designed in syllabi, course of study, curricular guides, and subjects. So it is a process wherein the learners acquire the planned or intended knowledge, skills, and attitudes that are aimed at enabling the same learners to function effectively in the society. So according to Ornstein and Hankins, they define curriculum implementation as the interaction between the curriculum that has been written and planned and the persons who are in charge to it. So these are the following implies to the curriculum implementation. So shift from what is current to a new or enhanced curriculum. Second one is to change in knowledge, actions, and attitudes of the persons involved. The third one is change in behavior using strategies and resources. Change which requires efforts, hence goals should be achievable. So they define the curriculum implementation as the trying out of a new practice and what it looks like when actually used in a school system. It simply means that the implementation should bring the desired change and improvement. So in the classroom context, curriculum implementation means teaching what has been written in the lesson plan. So implementing means using the plan as a guide to engage with the learners in the teaching learning process with the end in view that learning has occurred and learning outcomes have been achieved. So it involves the different strategies of teaching with the support and structural materials to go with the strategy. So let's proceed to the curriculum implementation as a change process. So according to Kurt Lewins, so always remember that Kurt Lewins is the father of social psychology. So he explains the process of change. So the model can be used to explain curriculum change and implementations. So in the education landscape, there are always two forces that oppose each other. So these are the driving force and the restraining forces. So when these two forces are equal, the state is equilibrium. So equilibrium or what we call balance. So there will be a status quo, hence there will be no change. The situation or condition will stay the same. However, when the driving force overpowers the restraining force, then change will occur. if the opposite happens, that is when the restraining force is stronger than the driving force, change is prevented. So this is the idea of Kurt Lewin in his force field theory. Okay, so we shall use this theory to explain curriculum change. So let us first differentiate the driving force and the restraining force. So as you can see here, if the driving force is equal to restraining force, will change happen? So do you think there will be a curriculum change in this situation? So as you can see here, the driving force, for example, the government intervention, the counterpart of it is the fear of the unknown. So in society's values, the counterpart of it is the negative attitude to change. While on the technological changes, the tradition values and the knowledge explosion and the limited resources. And lastly is the administrative support and the obsolete equipment. So according to Lewin, according to his theory, change will be better if the restraining forces shall be decreased rather than increasing. So the rather than increasing the driving force. So as a teacher or as a curricularist, how would you do this? So let's proceed to the categories of curriculum change. So number one is what we call the substitution. So this is the current curriculum will be replaced or substituted by a new one. So it is also called as a complete overhaul. So for example, changing an old book entirely to a new one, not merely a revision. So hindi daw revision. It is entirely changing it in a new one. So always remember, or you can define it based on the term itself. Number two is alteration. So in alteration, there is a minor change to the current or existing curriculum. So there is a minor change when we are talking about the alteration. So for example, instead of using graphing paper for mathematics teaching, this can be altered by using graphing calculator. So you have to replace, not a substitute or changing it entirely. There is just a minor change in the curriculum. The third one is the reconstructuring. So in a restructuring, this is building a new structure would mean a major change or modification in the school system, degree program, or educational system. So using an integrated curriculum for the whole school for K-12 requires the primary and secondary levels to work as a team. So for example, the curriculum that will be restructured when there is a significant involvement of parents in the child's instead of leaving everything to the teacher. So for example, using the in-school or off-school or a blended curriculum is an example of the reconstructuring. So next one is the perturbations. So these are the changes that are disruptive, but the teachers have to adjust to them within a fairly short time. So for example, if the principal changes the time schedule because there is a need to catch up with the national testing time, or the dean, the teacher has to shorten schedule to accommodate unplanned extracurricular activities. So I am sorry that I wasn't be able to include all the statement in the example of perturbations. So always remember that the changes here are very disruptive. Unlike in reconstructing, the changes are major and a total modification in the curriculum. Next one is the value orientation. So this is according to McNeil. So this is the type of the curriculum change. So perhaps this classification will respond to shift in the emphasis that the teacher provides which are not within the mission or vision of the school or vice versa. So for example, when new teachers who are recruited in religious um, schools give emphasis on academics and forget the formation of values of faith, they need curriculum value orientation. So likewise, all teachers in the public schools undergo teacher induction program, which is a special curriculum for newly hired teachers. So that is the value orientation. So again, regardless of the kind change in curriculum and implementation, the process of change may contain these three important elements. So bear this in mind. So the curriculum implementation should be developmental, participatory, and supportive. So I will discuss this on our next topic. So thank you very much.